Welcome to Spotlight, shining a light on the ideas, culture, and people of the Spartan community.
Welcome to Spotlight. I'm your host, Parker Lambers. Today, we will be talking with MSU standout runners, Andy, Nolan, and Andrew Lane. Andy is currently coming off a successful indoor track season after finishing 8th in the Big Ten Finals in the 3K. Andrew, an East Lansing native, has also come off a successful track campaign this indoor track season, finishing 10th in the indoor 5K. Spotlight is very excited to sit down with you both. Thank you for joining us. Andrew, how did you first get involved with running?
I first got involved with running with just running in gym class. We'd have warm-up laps that I always try to win, or we had the pacer test too, and I always tried my absolute hardest on that. And then from there, it kind of just evolved to running in middle school and high school, and now I'm here. The
pacer test is sort of a sprint. How did you change between that and made a transition towards more of a distance-oriented events?
I just had fun running, and I realized that I had some natural talent in it, so I think that kind of just translated as I got older.
Andy, did you have any role models when you first started running?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the first ones were probably just the older guys on my middle school team. They were a lot better than me, so in practice I would just try and keep up with them as best I could, and eventually I could keep up with them, and then eventually I got a little better than them. And then it started all over in high school, so those were probably the first role models I had.
Mm-hmm. Andrew, talk to us a little bit about your high school running career.
In high school, coming in high school as a freshman, I was really small and really looked like I should still be in middle school or even elementary school, but was able to run with some of the bigger guys, and as I continued to kind of develop physically, I was able to continue to make jumps, run faster, and yeah, just have a lot of fun with it, and yeah, had some really good competition in high school too.
Mm-hmm. Andy, how about you?
I mean, I was kind of the same as Andrew. I started off super tiny, super skinny, just way smaller than all my competition, but I could keep up with them decently well, and as I started to grow and mature, I started getting better than most guys, and eventually got to a point where I was kind of like, oh, geez, maybe I'll be able to do this at the next level.
When did that switch? Is there a certain race or event that you had that you knew you were going to be able to do this at the next level?
For sure. My sophomore year at Cross Country States in Division I, so the biggest division in high school for Michigan, I finished 14th, and I beat quite a few guys that were committed to like Power 5 Division I colleges, and that kind of hit me like, if I can beat these guys, you know, who knows what I can do at the next level.
Definitely. Andrew, why MSU? You talked a little bit about your high school career and how you kind of built up and progressed really well. What made you choose MSU as the school to run at?
Yeah, my story is a little different than most people, but growing up here in East Lansing, always loved MSU, but with COVID and school being online, I ended up taking some gap years, but found myself back here doing school and was able to join the team, and no better place to be, I don't think, and just bleed green, really.
Mm-hmm. Andy, how about you? Why Michigan State?
Well, the recruiting process was pretty stressful. I didn't really know what was going on. Coach Simonow was great throughout the whole thing, and I was supposed to take quite a few visits, and after my visit here at Michigan State, I just kind of knew that this is the place where I wanted to spend the next 4+ years of my life.
Definitely. Do you have a favorite memory here so far?
I mean, just being with the team and going on runs with all the guys every day is just so much fun. It's hard to pick out a specific memory, but just traveling and going on trips is so much fun. You know, it's impossible to pick one moment.
Definitely. Andrew, how about you? You have any favorite moments so far in your career?
I think kind of along what Andy was saying is racing's fun, practice is fun, but the best memories are just traveling with the guys, going out to dinner and just making those memories, whether it's playing games or playing bubble hockey in the hotel. Just so many good memories.
Definitely. Favorite training loop for both of you? We'll start with Andy. You have a favorite 10-mile loop?
10-mile loop. Oh, geez. I mean, it depends on the weather, the time of day. If it's a nice sunny morning, definitely farms. You know, you get that great sunrise, and it's just so nice. Other than that, maybe Bear Lake's a solid one. Can get a little dicey when it gets snowy out, but I mean, we've got a few good ones, so it's tough to pick.
Andrew, how about you? You have a favorite route?
Just like Andy said, I do like Bear Lake. We have some great trails to run on over in the Lansing area, but on a nice day, it's really fun to just run on campus, see all the students out doing whatever they're doing. But yeah, I love running around here. It's nice and flat, and usually the weather's pretty good. But when it gets snowy and windy, sometimes the runs feel a little extra tough on those days.
Are you a trail running guy or a road running guy for training?
We don't have too many trails around here. On Saturday when we do our long runs, we try to get out to a nearby town called Bath, where they got some dirt roads. It's a little softer on the legs, so when you're running all those miles, it keeps us healthy.
Awesome. We're going to come back in just a moment to hear more about what our guests have to say about their running journey. But first, this message.
What makes a Spartan a Spartan? The relentless drive to turn question marks into exclamation points. Believing that we are strong as one, but extraordinary together. And it's our impact that matters most. What makes a Spartan is what's inside, the commitment to something bigger. Because the world never stops asking, who will? Spartans will.
Welcome back to Spotlight. Right now, we will be talking with our guests about their experience at this past Big Ten Indoor Track Championship meet. Andy Nolan, a senior, finished 8th in the indoor 5K, as well as running the DMR, finishing 5th, leading the relay off with a 1,200-meter leg. Andrew Lane, a senior, placed 10th in the 5K, running a great race. Andy, I'll start with you. How did you feel about your 3K race?
I'm pretty happy with the 3K. It was a grind right from the start. The leaders went off pretty hot, so I just had to hang on and be tough. And I maybe would have hoped to have done a little better, but I was really happy with how I fought and how I finished up the race.
Definitely. How did you feel about the DMR leg? Obviously, the relay finished well. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it was just a ton of fun competing on a relay team, and having everyone cheering for us was just an absolute blast. I was pretty happy with it. I handed the baton off still in contention, so I gave the other guys the best chance possible for us to succeed.
100%. Was there a close finish, or was the finish pretty spread out between the top 8 teams?
It was a really close finish. It basically became a sit and kick between all the anchor legs, and so I think all of them finished within a couple seconds of each other, which was exciting to watch, but also pretty nerve-wracking.
Definitely, yeah. Those situations are always stressful for sure. Andrew, how did you feel about your 5K race?
I felt pretty good about my 5K race. I came in seated about 16th and finished 10th, so it was a good race overall. I was able to beat some guys that I wasn't supposed to, and beat some guys I'd never beaten before. So I was able to fight, and I was always shooting for that 8th place where the scoring starts to get that point for my team. But coming up just short in 10th was still a pretty good day for me.
Definitely. Being seated 16th, were you nervous at all going into the race?
No, it was honestly kind of nice. I think the heat that I was in only had about 18 guys, so I knew I really didn't have any expectations on myself. I could kind of just go out there, run freely, and see who I could beat.
Awesome. Congratulations to you both. Now we will be taking a look at how some of the other guys did in the Big Ten Championships last weekend.
Brady McCardle. Today I got 15 miles, and Big Tens was a good event. I ran the mile and the 3K. The mile I placed 10th, and 3K I didn't do too hot, but it was a good learning experience.
Well, my name's Andrew. I'm like a junior on the team. Kind of confusing with eligibility, but today we got a long run. We got 2 hours, so it's usually somewhere around 18 miles, depending on how fast we run. But it's a little snowy, a little cold today, but it should be fun. We're kind of in the transition period between Big Ten indoor and starting outdoor season. So indoor went pretty good. I got 10th in the 5K. Nothing too crazy. I got 12th last year, so moving up maybe next year, hopefully scoring. And then next week we got Raleigh, first outdoor race, racing the 10K. So pretty excited to do that. Yeah, debut in the 10K. So we'll see how that goes.
What's up? This is Moses Ostrink. I'm a freshman and I'm running 15 miles today. I decided to redshirt this year, but I enjoyed a good cross-country season, getting to race and train with my teammates.
I'm Riley Ho. I'm doing 16 miles today for a long run, and I ran the 5K. came sixth. It was a very tactical race, but honestly it felt amazing, and it was good to have that experience.
My name is Carly Stemfel. I'm long running about 17 to 18 miles, whatever 2 hours is going to be today. And this past Big Ten Championships, there was this tall guy in my race that was wearing the same uniform, and I kind of kicked him down. But that's what happens when you slow up the line.
Congratulations to everyone who raced this past weekend. Andrew, what has been the best moment of your career so far?
I've had a lot of fun with different races, but honestly one of my favorite memories from being on the team so far was last year we were able to escape the cold in Michigan and go race in Raleigh, North Carolina. And the day after we were racing, we just got to watch some of our teammates race, and it was nice weather. So days like that are always fun when it's a little more relaxing and just having fun with your guys.
Is that hard then to be away from school for so long when you're traveling to a meet far away, or did you find it pretty easy?
Yeah, that's always an issue. We just have to be able to manage it with our teachers and let them know when we're meet gone so that we can make up the homework or the in-class work, whatever needs to get done so we can stay on top of our school.
Do you feel like professors and your classmates do a good job of meeting the needs that you have when you're traveling?
Yeah, our advisors help us with that, and the teachers are usually pretty accommodating to allow us to still get the work done on time and be able to manage both school and running.
Definitely. Andy, do you have a favorite moment?
I mean, it's tough to pick one out of all the great moments we have, but probably a couple years ago I got to anchor the DMR indoors, and we ended up third place, so that was really exciting.
Awesome. We will be right back in a moment to hear more from our guests. But first, this message. Welcome back to Spotlight, where we continue talking running with our guests. Andy Nolan, who is majoring in Applied Engineering Sciences, along with Andrew Lane, who is majoring in Neuroscience. Andrew, what's the hardest class that you've taken so far?
The hardest class I've taken so far is probably one I'm in right now. It's a biochemistry class, and yeah, there's no homework, so all the exams are the only grade in the class, so you just got to make sure you study well and are prepared to take those.
Definitely. Andy, how about you? You taken any really hard classes this semester or in the past?
Not this semester, but my first semester ever at Michigan State, I took Honors Calc 3, and it was really tough. I was staying up late, doing homework all the time, and I managed to squeak my way through it. Since then, nothing's come close, so I'm pretty grateful for that.
Did you redshirt your freshman year?
I did not redshirt my freshman year. I came in during the COVID year, so eligibility was super weird, and I ended up getting the opportunity to race indoors and in cross country for Michigan State, so that was really good to have that experience as a freshman.
Definitely. Did that make it difficult when you were traveling as a freshman to also be taking that difficult of a class?
Thankfully, I wasn't traveling while taking that class, but it was an adjustment to have to miss class and go to these meets, but now it's just second nature.
Definitely. Andrew, how do you balance your personal, academic, and athletic life?
There's definitely a lot that goes into it. It feels like there's a lot we need to get done between running, practice, lifting, school, and a personal life. But I think just planning out your week ahead of time and make sure you don't procrastinate homework or what needs to get done that week so you can just stay on top of it.
Definitely. How important is recovery in that process then through the week as you're going through all of those different things?
Yeah, recovery is super important when we're running as much as we are. Just trying to get extra sleep in when you can, eat enough food to sustain yourself, and just, kind of getting by with what you can and keeping on top of everything.
Definitely. Andy, do you have any advice that you would give to someone younger than you that is looking to run at this level?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely tell them to, that their top priority should just be to have fun with it. You know, if you're not enjoying what you're doing, then there's almost no point in doing it. So I think a lot of people get stuck into the mindset of, I just have to grind this out and it's going to be terrible and I don't enjoy it. But if you find ways to find enjoyment in what you're doing, then that goes a long way in success.
100%. Is there any ways that you have learned to do that in the past couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely tried to, like, going into races, not put so much pressure on myself, and just tell myself that at the end of the day, no matter what happens, I'll be able to like go home and relax afterwards, and whether it goes the way I want or not the way I want, I'm still going to move forward and look to the next race.
100%. Andrew, is there any specific moments that you've really enjoyed this specific season?
Specifically this season, I think it's just been fun to go to a few meets in Michigan where some of our friends and family can come and watch us. A lot of our meets end up being farther away, so being able to have some closer meets has been fun, just having that support there.
How has your perspective changed? How have you changed your perspective on running specifically over the past couple of years?
I think a few years ago I just was getting caught up in each individual workout, each individual rep or run, whatever it was. It seemed like everything was live or die, but now just kind of taking it like one day at a time, having fun with it, and not living and dying with every run, just realizing that trusting the process and continue to get better. Maybe it's not perfectly linear, but hard work will make it a linear trend for sure.
Definitely. You both mentioned finding joy in it. Is there a specific way, Andrew, that you do that in your day-to-day life?
I think most importantly, just realizing that it's such a blessing to be able to run at all. Injury can come so quickly, so just enjoying it, realizing that it's a gift, a blessing, a privilege to be able to go out and run every day helps you stay happy and enjoy it.
We're going to come back in just a moment to hear more from our guests, but first, this message.
When do we give up? When do we just close our eyes and say, that's it? This water's too polluted. This disease too far along. To a Spartan, the answer is simple. Never. Because Michigan State was founded on the belief that our purpose is to make the world a better place. And when you're open to unconventional thinking, value people's differences, and are willing to forge true partnerships, then and only then can you solve the world's toughest problems. Like renewable energy, clean water, and Parkinson's disease. Because we know our true triumph lies in the impact we make on the world around us. And after all, if we don't do it, who will? Spartans will.
Welcome back to Spotlight, where we are talking running with our guests. We're going to do a little bit of talking about the gear that you need. Andy, you run in Nike Structures, and Andrew, you run in Nike Pegasus. Andrew, what difference does the gear make?
I think the gear is really important. The different shoes help different people with different types of feet, different strides, different form to be able to run and stay healthy. So I think, making sure you have the right gear goes a long way.
Andy, you switch it up a little bit going with the Structure, is that right?
Yeah, so the Structures are more of a support shoe for guys who have feet that what's called overpronate and basically roll over too much. So we really need those shoes to be able to run and not get injured. A lot of us have like different pairs of shoes for different types of runs. So a lot of us have what are dubbed as the super shoes for threshold workouts, and they just make it a little easier to hit the paces and not put so much pressure on our legs during those workouts.
100%. How long do those shoes tend to last? And how many miles a week do you run?
It varies. So like the super shoes tend to not last as long, versus the Structures can last up to about 500 miles. So I run 85 miles a week. So every like 5 to 6 weeks, I try and get a new pair of shoes to make sure that I'm not getting hurt and not wearing out the shoes too much.
100%. Andrew, is there any specific piece of gear that you like a lot, whether in the winter or the springs, or one that is your go-to?
I think an undervalued piece of equipment is just the running hat. It's versatile. It can keep the sun out of your eyes, the sweat out of your eyes sometimes, and honestly, sometimes it's just the most steezy piece of equipment, so it's important to have it, especially if you want to look fast.
100%. Well, the weather gets cold in the winter. It kind of sucks to go out there and run. What's the hardest part about being a student athlete, specifically the athlete part of it? What's the hardest part?
Sometimes it can get pretty tough when you look at the long view of things, since we essentially race from September through possibly June. So it's a pretty long and rigorous schedule. So sometimes it's easy to get caught up in like how much you've got to go and like how long you've got to go until the big races. So that can be pretty tough sometimes. So it's important to, take it one day at a time and, keep the short view in mind sometimes.
100%. Andrew, how about you? What's the hardest part?
Yeah, I think like Andy was saying, when you're running as many miles a week as we are, sometimes it's overwhelming to think, man, I need to run like another 60 miles and it's only Wednesday and you need to get that done by the end of the week. But just managing your time well, getting your runs done when you need to get them done, and just staying on top of it is vital.
Definitely. Andy, if you could run besides any athlete in the whole world, who would it be?
I mean, I think most distance runners would give this answer, but I'm going to say Steve Prefontaine. He's basically a legend in the running community, and he died at such a young age that not a lot of people really got to run with him. So he's almost, as I said, almost a legend in the running community. So it would be super cool to just go on a base run with him or something.
Definitely, yeah, he's a legend. Andrew, how about you?
Oh, that's a tough question. I might have to go with the first guy who ever broke 4 minutes in the mile, Roger Bannister. That happened quite a few decades ago now, so it'd just be fun to hear how running was different then versus how it is now.
Yeah, speaking of gear and that, didn't he run in crazy different spikes? Do you know anything about that or no?
Yeah, the shoes and equipment they had was way less sophisticated than we have now. Now we have carbon plates and different spikes to help us run just that much faster. But what they were doing back then with the not as good gear is still super impressive, and even more impressive because what they were doing it in.
Andy, how do you think that compares to now? I mean, he was running 4 minutes back then with the gear they had, and plenty of guys are doing that now with the gear we do. Do you think that any correlation there?
I mean, I think the gear definitely plays a part in it. I think if you put Roger Bannister in the gear that we have and on the tracks that we have, he probably would have run a lot faster than 3:59. I think also the training plays a big part into it, because now we know so much more about how humans work and the optimal training methods. Even now, new training is coming out every year. There's everyone's talking about the Norwegian method right now because of the Ingebrigtsens. So, everything's just advancing so much. So it's crazy impressive that he was able to break 4 minutes way back then.
With that advancement in training, do you find it difficult to physically and mentally recover between workouts, or what's your process for doing that?
I mean, usually I just try and, as our coach says, it's water off the back. You almost forget about the last workout you did, and you just focus on taking it easy and making sure you get back to normal before the next run. So sleep, fuel, everything just plays a really big part in getting back to normal between big efforts.
Andrew, how is this season compared to last season, and has it exceeded your expectations, or have you fallen short of kind of some goals you had maybe set?
This season has been pretty good so far. I just have been continuing to just try to stack the days, like we say, just one day stacks on top of each other, and week stack, month stack, and as we continue to stack that fitness, we'll just continue to get more fit. So it's been fun to just continue to work hard and improve.
Definitely. This has been very interesting, and it has been a pleasure talking to you both. Congratulations to you, Andy, on an awesome indoor season.
Thank you. Being on the show has been an absolute pleasure.
And Andrew, congratulations on a great indoor season. Your 5K was incredible.
Thank you for having us on.
Definitely. That is all the time we have for today. We hope that you tune in again to Spotlight for more interesting interviews with our fantastic guests. This is Parker Lambers signing off. Have a great night.
Thanks for watching. Spotlight is a production of MSU Digital Storytelling and was produced and directed entirely by Michigan State University students. Join us next time for more Spotlight.